topic. Am I audible to you clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we had a discussion on what Mrs. Packletide tiger, and the first question we talk about why do people hunt, and when we talk
Hmm.
about this topic, we understood that uh, means there are variety of region or various region for which people do hunt, right? And we also
Hmm.
went for the region for hunting, like you talk about that could be on the region of means to show the bravery or called as to show the social status, or you could say that what do we say that for the skin purpose, skin and bones, and we also talk about animal fleshes which are used for the sake of what eating. Then beside that also, what else you could find out?
Sir, like, sir, this means these are the answers I have given. What else?
Yeah, what else? That's what I'm asking to you.
That's what, sir, I'm confused about.
Okay, okay. So, like what are the things we have discussed so far? Means um people killed animals because of various region, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And we talk about the regions which is known as uh, bravery. We also
Mhm.
know that social status. We also point out that for adventure and thrill. We can also say that for money. And we also say that they kill the animal for food, and you can call it for hobby, isn't it? Hobby,
Yes, sir.
food, adventure and thrill, bravery, publicity, and then we talk about money, isn't it? All
Yes.
these are the reasons for which people kill whom? People kill animals. Now, next stage called as a uh, yeah, yeah. Let's come to the topic. The topic, Mrs. Packletide tiger, which is stated about. um This story was written at a time when there was very little awareness about the need to protect the environment and the wildlife, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, in that case, uh, if you talk about uh, the ideas, before we go to jump to the kind of a story and understand it, so can you see that it is given in the second part that read these lines and guess the answer to the question given below?
Yes, sir.
It was Mrs. Packletide's pleasure and intention that she should shoot a tiger, right? So why did Mrs. Packletide want to kill a tiger?
Because, sir, it was just a pleasure
And
and
intention
intention. Yes, sir.
that she should shoot a tiger. What does it tell you about her? The compelling motive.
Yes, sir.
Then third, what is the tone of the story writer?
Sir, the it's like the tone.
A kind of a humorous.
Yeah, yes, sir. The tone is humorous. Yes, sir.
Do you think she was successful in her mission? Do you think that Mrs. Packletide was successful in her mission?
Means, sir, I think she was partially successful in her mission because she had an aim to gain the tiger skin and nails, etc., to gift it to her friend, to gift it to Luna Wimbledon. But she also wanted to shoot the tiger directly. But she was unable to shoot the tiger, but she
No,
still.
her main intention was what? Her main intention was to make Luna Bimberton down, right?
Yes, sir. So
Uh,
means like she succeeded in that.
yeah. What do you think the story is all about? The story is all about Mrs. Packletide's journey to kill a tiger, isn't it? So
Yes.
now moving to the next one. So we could say that,
You could say what?
अरे यार ये, yeah. It was Mrs. Packletide's pleasure and intention that she should shoot a tiger, not
Yes,
that the loss to kill, not that the loss to kill had suddenly descended in her, or that she felt that she would leave India safer and more wholesome than she had found it. So you can say that what, with one fraction less of wild beast per million of inhabitant, the compelling motive for her sudden deviation towards the footsteps of Nimrod was the fact that Luna Bimberton had recently been carried 11 miles in an aeroplane by an Algerian aviator. 11 miles in an aeroplane uh, by an Algerian aviator, and talked of nothing else. Only a personally procured tiger skin and a heavy harvest of press photographs could successfully counter that sort of things. Now, if you talk about that, imagine, do you think that tiger killing, is it possible in the present day?
no, sir. It is not possible in the present.
It's not possible in the present day because of the kind of a law implemented, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Animal lives. So you
Yes,
can say at the beginning it is stated, Mrs. Packletide's pleasure is what? Now, pleasure is called as a means pleasure and intention was that what? Now, she should shoot a tiger, right? But why? Not that the loss to kill. So it is not her means kind of a habit or hobby to or something called as a attraction to kill that had suddenly descended on her, so or that she felt that she should leave India safer and more wholesome than she had found it. So what do you mean by this particular part?
sir. Means as the most number of tigers were in India, she wanted to come to India and kill the tiger and then run away.
So or that she felt that she would leave India safer and more wholesome than she had found it, right? So with it clearly indicates that what, now killing tiger is not means not easy, that the day when she was there, not in the present day, isn't it? And if she could do such kind of a thing in the present day, she could not easily means run away from the country called India, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with the one fraction less of wild beasts per million of inhabitants. So you could say that what means a tiger is nothing but considered as the one fraction less. So living in the country called India, the compelling motive. So here it is stated means Mrs. Packletide had a kind of a strong motive for what? For her sudden deviation towards the footsteps of Nimrod. So what is that Nimrod? Nimrod is nothing but called as a kind of a biblical character, right? Or a mighty hunter. So who's great grandson of Noah. So you can say that Nimrod is nothing but a character, a mighty hunter who was nothing but the great grandson of Noah. So the kind of interest Noah do have. Are you there?
Yes, sir. I am there. Hello.
Yeah, I'm asking. Like it seems like a kind of a different noise. Okay, am my voice is clearly audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is clearly stated that the means a strong motive for her sudden deviation towards the footstep of Nimrod was the fact that Luna Bimberton. So you could say that Mrs. Packletide, who turned to be a means a kind of a character to kill one of the animals, right? Was the fact that Luna Bimberton had recently been carried 11 miles in an aeroplane by an Algerian aviator. So it could say that what Luna Bimberton was the kind of an inspiration for her, right? Or it can be called as a kind of a jealousy for her, or a kind of a envy for her, right? And because of which she decided to do what? She decided to kill means one of the tiger, and that's the reason she went to where. Now she went to the footstep of whom? footstep of Nimrod. So who is Nimrod? Nimrod is nothing but a mythological or biblical character. Are you getting my point?
who is said to be a mighty hunter. So she wants to follow the footsteps of this Nimrod to become a hunter.
Yes. So footsteps of the Nimrod. That means called as a, she wanted. She doesn't want to be a Nimrod, but the thing is that uh, she has been compared with the Nimrod, right? Getting.
Okay.
Mm. So was the fact that Luna Bimberton had recently been carried 11 miles in an aeroplane by an Algerian aviator. So when you talk about Algerian aviator, we are talking about she became the uh, passenger of that Algerian aviator. And what did she do? She talked of nothing else, only a personally procured tiger skin. So Mrs. Packletide had a only thought of what means getting a tiger skin and a heavy harvest of press photograph. Heavy harvest of press photograph means it can be known as the means all the people, right, all the press photographers could be gathered and took her photograph. So and that could successfully means counter, that could successfully counter what, that could successfully counter that sort of things Mrs. Packletide already arranged in her mind. The lunch she would give at her house on Curzon Street, ostensibly. Ostensibly means that's something called as a kind of a showy manner, or supposedly in Luna Bimberton's honor. Now, in that case, here it is very clear to understand that Luna Bimberton and Mrs. Packletide both are nothing but kind of a competitor, and where you both are also known as the friend. But Luna Bimberton did something uh, which give a kind of an insight or encourage to Mrs. Packletide to do what? Mrs. Packletide to go for killing tiger and taking the tiger's skin as well as the brooch. So that will be nothing but kind of a equally showing the courage that Mrs. Packletide have, and which will match with Luna Bimberton's kind of a courageous work that called as she her 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 recently been carried recently been carried 11 miles in an aeroplane by an Algerian aviator. So that will be matched with her. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in that case, after that, it is also stated in Luna Bimberton's honor with a tiger skin rock, with a tiger skin rock occupying most of the background and all of the conversation. Sorry.
Okay.
uh, in Luna Bimberton's honor with a tiger skin rug occupying most of the foreground and all of the conversation. So you know that it's a kind of a showy or called as a kind of a means kind of a possible work that Mrs. Packletide wanted to do, right? So she would give at her house on Curzon Street and ostensibly in Luna Bimberton's honor with a tiger skin rug occupying most of the foreground and all of the conversation. She had also already designed in her mind the tiger claw brooch that she was going to give Luna Bimberton on her next birthday. So you would find out that here Mrs. Packletide wanted to give a tiger brooch to whom? Luna Bimberton, uh,
Yeah.
Luna Bimberton's honor, and at the same time, uh, she had a discussion or she had a kind of a conversation that she would also bring tiger skin, so that she wanted to keep where? In her house. And she had also already designed in her mind the tiger claw brooch that she was going to give Luna Bimberton on her next birthday.
Means, sir, the tiger skin she wants to keep it for herself and she will give the brooch to Luna Wimbledon.
Yes. Okay. So after
Yes, sir.
after that, it is also said she had also already designed in her mind the tiger club rules that she was going to give Luna Bimberton on her next birthday. In a world that is supposed to be chiefly swayed by hunger and by love, Mrs. Packletide was an exception. So the author who pointed here that if you observe that some people have a different kind of a means a habit. Like if you see that the world that is moved, that is mainly moved for what? Moved for hunger. It means people do not get food to eat. People are also hungry for love. Whereas Mrs. Packletide was an exception. How? Now, Mrs. Packletide was an exception because she wanted to spend a lot. She wanted to kill animal. And why shall she do all such kind of a thing? Because it is her envious for whom? It is her envious for Miss Luna Bimberton, isn't it? Her movements and motives were largely governed by dislike of Luna Bimberton, which is clearly reflected. So her
So we can see, how means like opposite minded is our Mrs. Packletide. As in the whole world, they demand for love and food, whereas this Mrs. Packletide is just being guided by the NP for Luna Wimberton and doing such kind of things.
Yeah, that's what you can point out. So even you can also see that circumstances prove. Circumstances proved propitious. So what do you mean by propitious? So propitious is called as a supported, right? So circumstances proved supported to Mrs. Packletide. So had offered 1,000 rupees for the opportunity of shooting a tiger without overmuch risk of exhaustion. So even Mrs. Packletide, it's not like a kind of a thought of what means she had the habit or a hobby or interest of killing tiger. She wanted to show that she could also do such kind of a courageous work. And that is the reason. So what did she do? Now Mrs. Packletide had offered 1,000 rupees for the opportunity of shooting a tiger without over much risk of exhaustion. Over much risk of exhaustion means she did not want to take, high risk, or she did not want to get tired. So she only wanted to get the tiger brooch and also tiger skin and any kind of a tiger in a very, easy manner, and to get a to kill that tiger in a easy process, not to take not to take her life in danger, not to take any hard work. And it so happened that a neighboring village could, and that's the reason you would find out she offered 1,000 rupees to the villagers, right? And
Sir,
village,
sir,
yes.
she is currently right now in India.
Who?
Means like in this story, she is in India.
See, it is a fictitious, right?
Okay.
It's a fictitious. So how would you consider that Mrs. Packletide was present in India?
So
So
like it is given that she felt that we would leave India safer and more wholesome than the former.
now
So I could
it is the author who was saying that if such kind of a story would be present in India, it cannot be believable, because at present no one can kill the animals and can run away freely.
okay.
Okay. So that is what you would find out. Circumstances proved favorable. Mrs. Packletide had offered 1,000 rupees for the opportunity of shooting a tiger without taking any danger to her life and the tiredness. And it so happened that have you have you got disconnected or what?
No, sir, I'm connected.
Okay. So after that, it is stated, and it so happened that a neighboring village could boast of boast of being the favored rangeivers of an animal of a respectable antecedent. Now, if you talk about that, means we understood Mrs. Packletide did not want to take the danger, but at the same time, how did she manage? Now, she gave 1,000 rupees to the villagers, neighboring village, and the neighboring village also boast of being the supporter. Boast of being means what? They felt pride. They felt, they felt very happy that they are going to support, right? So, and they support the meeting of whom? They support the meeting of means Mrs. Packletide. So on what? On killing an animal, killing a tiger of an animal of respectable antecedent, which had been driven by the increasing infirmities of age to abandon game killing. and confine its appetite to the smaller domestic animal. So, what do you find out here? In this part, you would find out. Uh, so, when the plan is made, so plan is made for what?
So for killing the means like for killing the tiger, the old tiger by Mrs. Packletide.
Yeah. So, after that, you would find out of an animal of respectable antecedent, which had been driven by the increasing infirmities of age. Increasing infirmities of age, what do you mean by increasing infirmities of age?
Sir, increasing infirmities means sir increasing means like problems of age.
So, who have that means a problem of age?
Sir, the old tiger.
Yeah. So, if you observe that carefully, it is clearly stated that what means which had been driven by the increasing infirmities of age, that's called as to discontinue game killing and confine its appetite to the smaller domestic animals. So here you would find out they found out the kind of a tiger that was means excessive old, and also means because of the old age it discontinued means killing other animals and restricted to one particular place, right, to fulfill its hunger to the and it generally killed to the small or smaller domestic animals, is it?
Yes, sir.
The prospect of earning the rupees, the prospect means the goal of earning the 1,000 rupees that had stimulated the sporting and commercial instinct of the villagers. So when we say that the prospect of earning the 1,000 rupees had, guided the sporting and commercial instinct of the villagers. So the villagers become what? The villagers become the, you can say that, money minded, right? And they also take it nothing but an adventure. So children were, so that is why they took it as the challenge. Children were posted night and day on the outskirts of the local jungle to head the tiger back in the unlikely event of which attempting to roam away to fresh hunting grounds. So here you would find out the villagers who helped a lot. Who helped a lot to whom? Who helped a lot to means Mrs. Packletide. How did they help? They helped. You can say that these villagers took it as the sporting and a money minded, and for which they sent their children to the means to guard, right. So to guard night and day on the outskirts of the local jungle means that you can say outside of the local jungle. Why? Now they do not want that the tiger should go out of the jungle, right. um
Sir,
yes.
means then sir, why they were sending children for that? Because if they send children for guarding, then it might be danger for the children.
Now observe that what does it say? It says that they the prospect of earning the 1,000 rupees had means strengthened the sporting and commercial instinct of the villagers, right?
Yes, sir.
Then after what does it say? Children were posted.
Yes, sir. Means
Children.
sir, okay, okay. Means because of means like they had the sporting and commercial instinct of the villagers for the 1,000 rupees. They sent their children for guarding.
Yeah. So you could say that children were posted night and day on the outskirts of the local jungle to head the tiger. To head the tiger means what? Now to guide the tiger back. Back where? Now to guide the tiger back into the unlikely event. Unlikely event means what? Means they wanted that the tiger should come back to the jungle, and for that also they present what? They present the goat for it, and when the tiger would come to the place, so at that particular time they would kill it. So the place is known as a fresh hunting ground, isn't it?
Okay.
So children were posted night and day on the outskirts of the local jungle to head the tiger back in the unlikely event of its attempting to roam away to fresh hunting grounds. So they wanted the tiger to come back to a kind of a place which is known as a fresh hunting grounds. Why it is called as a fresh hunting grounds? Because they have created a kind of a trap for the tiger, right? So, and as they have created the trap for the tiger, so tiger needs to reach that place. If the tiger doesn't come to that place, how would they hunt it? Isn't it? And the cheaper kinds of and what else they have made? They have also created the situation. So in that phrase hunting grounds, they have kept the cheaper kinds of goats, right? Cheaper kinds of goats. It means called as a not one or two. So they have means scattered many goats that were left.
Around
Uh,
the many goats around the area.
Yeah, many of the goats which were scattered, left about. Why? Now, with elaborate carelessness. So they did not keep it for the sake of what? Means guarding the goats. They were guarding the womb. They were guarding the tiger. They were guarding the tiger and they wanted the tiger to come back to the prey hunting ground. How would the tiger come to fresh hunting ground? Now, when the tiger finds out that many of the goats here and there, so he would kill one, and then after he would follow to the direction where the goats are kept, isn't it? And finally, it would reach to the kind of a fresh hunting ground.
Yes, sir.
So that is what the idea of him. So then after it is stated, yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
Uh, so, and the children were posted night and day on the outskirts of the local jungle to head the tiger back in the unlikely event of his attempting to roam away to fresh hunting grounds, and the cheaper kinds of goats were left about with elaborate carelessness to keep the tiger satisfied with his present quarters. So, in that case, whatever the tiger was doing, means whatever the tiger was getting fed, uh, so means from the past to till the present, they wanted to satisfy the tiger. And how do they satisfy the tiger? They satisfy the tiger by giving him means more and more number of goats, right? So, and after that, what does it say? The the one great anxiety. Yes.
Sir, I never said anything.
Okay. The one great anxiety. So, do you understand the meaning of anxiety?
Uh, yes, sir.
So, that's something called as a kind of a nervousness, or called as uh, a kind of a fear in the mind. So, the one great fear was that lest he should die of old age before the date appointed for the membership, Mem Sahib's suit, right? So all the villagers had a kind of a thought that the tiger must not die because of the old age, because the tiger was very old, and any day it would die because of the old age. So therefore, they do have the kind of a fear that the tiger should not die because of the old age, uh,
Before shooting.
before the date when the Memsahib is going to kill this tiger.
Sir,
So
again, I am thinking that this particular Mrs. Packletide is in India.
yeah, but see, the thing is that the story is referring as the past and ancient time when the kings and queens and maids, right? So they used to kill the animals for their enjoyment, for their adventure. It is not about the present situation. Are you getting my point? If you go back to the 50 years or 100 years ago, what do you find out? The time when so you can say that Mughal rulers was there, or you talk about kings ruling was there, or after that you would find out British ruling was there. So in that case, what happened? Now these Britishers, so means they used to kill the animals. How do they kill the animals, and why do they kill the animals? They kill the animals because of their own interest, because of their it's their hobby, because it is their what? It is their one of the kind of a game, right?
Yes, sir.
Then, uh, Mincho, what is your thought?
Sir, means like I first I was confused that is this name Sahab means like this Mrs. Packletide and the villagers are of India or not. But I am now sure that this village is in India and the villagers are of India. But still, the story is a fictional story.
See, the thing is that what I understood from your question, you believe that this is the kind of a thing which happened in the present day in the society, right?
No, sir. I know that it happened in past.
Yeah, it was happening in the past. But if you talk about that, whether it is referring to India, yes, it is referring to India, because you would find out that means the kind of a system and the kind of a storytelling it is pointing. So it seems like it is purely from the Indian perspective. Okay. Now, after that, mothers carrying their babies home through the jungle after the day's work. In the fields, in the field, uh, hushed their singing, lest they might curtail the restful sleep of the venerable herd robber. Right. So, what does it try to tell us? It is stated that mothers carrying their babies home through the jungle. So while mothers are means, doing their day job and in the evening when they come to their home, so through the jungle after the day's work in the fields. So what happened? Now they got silence, right? They pushed their silent singing. Otherwise, they might reduce the restful sleep of or break the restful sleep of the venerable herd robber. Right. So when you talk about herd rubber, what do you mean by herd rubber?
Sir, tiger.
Yeah. So herd rubber is referring to nothing but means tiger. So here you would find out that the author is stated that it would be definitely break the venerable hard rubber, or maybe it create the kind of a problem or means a difficulty to the tiger. So or it will break the restless, or it will break the sleep of the tiger. So that is why they do not allow the mothers to sing to make their child calm, or called as to make their child means uh, sing the kind of a song, right? So then after it is stated that the great night duly arrived. So which night it was talking about?
Sir, the means like the night of hunting.
So the great night duly arrived. So you would find out that finally the night was arrived, moonlit, full of moonlight and also cloudless. No cloud is present. A platform had been constructed. A platform had been constructed in a comfortable and conveniently placed tree. So
Yes.
it indicates that they have made the plan to kill the tiger, and for which what they have done. Now they have created a kind of a shelter, right? Shelter where? Now shelter in the tree. So that shelter was comfortable, very farm, and also you were suitable for a person to hide and also aim the prey. So, and thereon crouched Mrs. Packletide, and there Mrs. Packletide was hiding herself, right? And her paid companion. Now, who is her paid companion?
Miss Mevin.
Yeah. So Miss Bevin was the pet companion. A goat gifted with a particularly persistent bleat. So now you would find out that there was a also huge, fatty, bulky means goat that was given for the sake of the gift to the gift to the whom? Gift to the tiger, right? So when we say that a bleat, which is called as a fatty, such as seven or partially deep tiger. might be reasonably expected to hear on a stilly night. So you would find out such as even a partially deaf. Partially deaf means the tiger was also not able to hear completely. So
Yeah,
possibly,
it is old, right? So
uh,
senses are also degraded.
yeah, might be reasonably expected to hear, right, on a stilly night. So it is not possible that what the tiger could hear the sound of the goat or not. So, but anyhow, was tethered, was fastened. So the goat was means you can say that the goat was bound on the tree, and the tiger was invited to kill it. So was tethered at the correct distance. So the goat was bound at the correct distance so that the tiger could come, and Mrs. Packletide could aim to it with an accurately sighted rifle. With an accurately sighted rifle. So it means called as a aiming the rifle to the particular place, and a thumbnail pack of patience cards. Thumbnail pack of patience cards means that called as a small size of playing cards to, play solitaire. The sportswoman awaited the coming of the quarry. The sportswoman means here you would find out that Mrs. Packletide was sitting on her shelter, aiming to the tiger. At the same time, also means she hold a kind of a means like she hold the rifle like one who hold a, a group of or a bulk of or a bunch of cards on her hand, and patiently waiting to others to start playing. Are you listening to me?
Means, sir, I am listening to you, but means what the sentence states? It states that she was holding the rifle like firmly or carefully, or means like in what way?
Yeah, you can say that it can be a metaphorical one, right? So where we can say the goat was tethered at the correct distance. Then after, with an accurately sighted rifle, who hold the rifle accurately sighted? Mrs. Packletide, right?
Yes, sir.
And a thumbnail pack of patient cards. So a thumbnail pack of patience cards means the sportswoman awaited the coming of the quarry. Now, if I talk about thumbnail pack of patience card, so we can say that it is referring to small sized playing cards to play solitaire, right?
Yes, sir.
So here we can draw the idea that what now maybe the cards are indicating. The cards are indicating what? The cards are indicating the group of players who play together solitaire, and they do have a set of cards in their hand, and they patiently waited for the what? They patiently waited for the other members to put the card so that they will put the next, isn't it? Let's say that you and I are playing together solitaire game. So I have the set of card, you have the set of the cards. So what you do, what you will do, what I will do. I will wait for your part to come, or called as you first put the card. Then after I'll put the card.
Yes, sir.
So here you can take it into two ways. One, that called as the Mrs. Packletide hold the rifle like she hold the means a pack of what patient cards, or she is patient uh, means you can say that carrying the patient and waiting for a long time to means waiting for a long time to whom the tiger to come. Right. And that is what no, comparison with what? That is what comparison with the group of players who hold the solitaire card, and they waited for the other members to play first, and they will put after that. Am I clear or still got confused?
No, sir. Now I am clear.
Okay. So this is called as a one of the way. The second way you
Like
can
this sentence ultimately says that Mrs. Packletide was holding the rifle, it's like firmly. It's a perfect rifle which is pointing towards the spot where the tiger is supposed to come, and she is patiently waiting for the tiger to come.
Yes. So I suppose we are in some danger, Miss Mabin said. What does Miss Mabin point out? I suppose we are in some danger. So she was not actually nervous about the wild beast, but she had a morbid dread of performing an atom more service than she had been paid for. Right. Now, what do you find out? Miss Mabin, who said that, I suppose we are in some danger. So, what do you mean by this? Miss Mabin, who was not actually nervous about the wild beast. So Miss Mabin was telling all such kind of a thing to point out that what means that Mrs. Packletide was doing a courageous work, and that is why she all the time making a kind of a statement, right? But she had a morbid dread of performing an atom more service than she had been paid for. She was getting a huge payment for assisting Mrs. Packletide. So that is why what she wanted to do. Now she wanted to show that she wanted to show that she was assisting the Mrs. Packletide. So that is why every minute after minute she was making a kind of a statement that would create that she was caring about Mrs. Packletide. So therefore, when you say she had a morbid dread means that is called as a showy fear. Showy fear of what? Showy fear of performing an atom, right? More service than she had been paid for. She had shown, you know, uh, she had shown that she was doing more work than the kind of amount
But
that she had paid for. Yes. So Mrs. Packletide said, nonsense. It is a very old tiger. It could not jump up here even if it wanted to. So Mrs. Packletide means told Miss Mabin that nonsense she was because the tiger was very old and she could not even jump to the kind of a place where Mrs. Packletide and Miss Mabin place, made their place or made their place where they aim the tiger. So if it is an old tiger, I think you require to get it cheaper, right? If it is an old tiger, I think you require to get it cheaper. 1,000 rupees is a lot of money. So who said? Luja Mabin said. Luja Mabin said to Mrs. Packletide. So here you also see that Miss Mabin is very concerned for what? Mrs. Packletide's money that she paid to the old villager, 1,000 rupees, which Miss Mabin think that it is very much because the for the kind of a work, 1,000 rupees is very much, you know, you can say that a huge money. So,
but
Luisa,
sir, all the statements that Miss Megan is giving over here, saying over here, is all her means like false means like showing off that she was caring about Mrs. Spector.
yes, absolutely. So you can say that Miss Mabin's all kind of a statement shows that what she was carrying Mrs. Packletide, but actually she was not, right? So Louisa Mabin adopted a protective elder sister. Now you can see that it is also clearly stated that Louisa Mabin showed that what she was the elder sister of Mrs. Packletide. Uh, elder sister what? Elder sister attitude. Uh, how? Now, because she was showing the kind of a kindness for the kind of for the amount of money that Mrs. Packletide is spending on villagers, right? So even she also pointed that irrespective of nationality or denomination, so her energetic intervention means Miss Mabin's energetic, right? Intervention or interference had served many a rebel from depleting itself in tips and some Moscow hotel. So the author is stated that Miss Mabin most of the time helped Mrs. Packletide to spend a lot of money. How? Now whether Miss Mabin Miss Mabin is indicate here it is indicating the characteristic of Mabin, Miss Mabin, that Miss Mabin showed the elder sister attitude. So she cared about money, and she does not care whether she belonged to any other country or any other currency. So she always interfere wherever money matter comes, and she saved also many a ruble. Ruble is called as a currency. She saved many a ruble from depleting itself in tips in some Moscow hotel. So she saved a huge ruble in Moscow hotel, and she francs and centimes that hold to her instinctively under circumstances uh, which would have driven them headlong from less sympathetic hands. So she pointed that means if she would not be there, so Mrs. Packletide could spend excessive money on Moscow hotels and could give much amount of money to all the poor people. Or because Mrs. Packletide is a very kind-hearted person. Her doubts as to the market depreciation of tiger remnants were cut short by the appearance on the scene of the animal itself. So even you would find out that Miss Mabin doubts Miss Mabin doubts what? Uh, Doubts that, or speculation, or spreading the rumor. Miss Mabin's spreading the rumor that the market depreciation of tiger remnants. So means market is not buying. Market is not buying what? Now market is not buying the animal skins or animal products, right? And market is going down of tiger remnants, and that were caught short by the appearance on the scene of the animal itself. So even when she realized that the tiger was very old and also very, fatty, she realized that her skin would not go into huge cost. Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
As soon as it caught sight of the tethered goat, as soon as it caught sight of the tethered goat, it lay flat on the earth, seemingly less from a desire to take advantage of all available cover than for the purpose of snatching a short rest before commencing the grand attack. So immediately the writer, moving from discussion of Miss Mabin to come
To the
directly to
tiger.
the scene. So what did he say? He said that what? Now, as soon as it caught sight of the tether goat, so as soon as it caught means the tiger saw the appearance on the scene of the animal itself. So what happened? Yeah, as soon as it caught sight of the leather goat, it lay flat on the earth and appearingly less from a desire, right? Less from a desire to take advantage of all available cover than for the purpose of snatching a short rest before attacking the grand attack. So the tiger did nothing but means, did not try to, or did not wish to take advantage of all available. So what did the tiger do? The the tiger gives a kind of a purpose of what? Snatching or short rest. Means uh, taking short time or taking slowly, right? Taking slowly and restfully, right? Attack the goat, right? Before it goes directly attack to the goat. So that is what it is stated. It appears like what? Less from a desire to take advantage of all available cover than for the purpose of snatching or short rest. So the tiger wants to take some rest before it starts the grand attack, before it starts the means attack to the goat. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
So then after it is stated, I believe it is ill. So Luja Mabin said, I believe it is ill. So which one is ill?
Tiger.
So I believe it is ill, Luja Mabin said. So loudly in Hindustani. So for the benefit of the village head man, who was in ambush in a neighboring village, a neighboring tree. So I believe it is ill. So the tiger is at an ill. Luja Mabin said that. And how she said? She said it in a Hindustani. And what did she say? She said that it is in ill. So, and for the benefit of the village headman. So, who is the village headman here? One of the
Sir, I didn't see any headman over
yeah.
here.
So the village headman who was in ambush means who was hiding in a neighboring tree. So neighboring tree means that called as a next tree, supported tree. So that the villager, right, who was also known as the headman. So he was hiding himself means behind the tree, and means Miss Mabin here pointing that what means the tiger could be nothing but is in a eel. So, and this could be definitely beneficial for whom? Beneficial for the headman to, headman to do what? Headman to attack it, or headman to means find it, right? So, Mrs. Packletide said, yeah, any doubts?
Sir, Mrs. Packletide was the one to shoot, right? Then
Yeah, no.
why this perspective?
No, no. Listen, here, what does it say? It is stated that the means tiger is an eel, right?
Yes, sir.
So who said that?
Louisa Mabin.
Now, what did she say? Louisa said it in Hindustani, right? So,
Yes,
for the benefit of the village headman, it means the village headman could hear that.
then what?
Now, why did it say for the benefit of the village headman? Can you say that?
Hmm, no, sir.
So when it is stated that I believe it is ill, Louisa Mabin said it. Fine, it is ill. It is the kind of information that she passes to Mrs. Packletide, right?
Yes, sir.
So, but after that it is stated she spoke it or she said it in Hindustani. What do you mean by Hindustani? So that the villager could understand that?
Oh, yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Now I understood.
Okay, thank you. So for the benefit of the village headman who was in ambush in a neighboring tree, so she said, and the village headman could understand because she spoke in a Hindustani language.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hush, Mrs. Packletide said. Mrs. Packletide said, shh. So it is a kind of first means exclamatory silence. And at that moment, the tiger commenced. The tiger began. The tiger began ambling towards his victim. Ambling means that called as a slowly, or called as a dragging himself closer to the goat. The goat that was the victim of it. So after that, Miss Maybe, now, Miss Maybe nudged with some excitement. If he does not touch the goat, we need not pay for it, right? The bait was an extra, right? So it means what? Now, Mrs. Packletide spend the money for what? Spend the money for the tiger to kill as well as the tiger to provide food, right? If if the tiger did not kill the goat, then they need to return the goat to the villager, and for that they don't pay any amount to the village people for the goat, right? So that is why Miss Mabin here it is saying that it is the correct time to kill the tiger. Got my point?
Okay.
Right. It is the correct
Yes,
time
sir.
to it is the correct time to kill the tiger. Means now,
This Mabin is really it's a lot bothered about the money.
yeah, saving money of Mrs. Packleton. Now, after that, what happened? The rifle flashed out with a loud report. The rifle flashed out. Flashed out means that called as a that it sends the bullet out with a loud report, with a loud sound, and the great tawny beast. So who is the great tawny beast? The tiger was the great tawny beast that jumped to one side and then rolled over in the stillness of death. So now you would find out the line itself is saying that the great tawny beast jumped to one side and then it went roll over in the stillness of death. And then it was found still, and it seems that it seems what? It seems the death of that tiger. So, in a moment, a crowd of excited natives that had swarmed onto the scene. So, in a moment, so in a very small time period, what happened? The villagers that gathered onto the scene, and they're shouting speedily. Shouting speedily carried the glad news to the village that what? That the tiger was killed. Where a thumping of what? The tum-tums. Look up the chorus of the triumph. And the triumph and the rejoicing found in ready echo in the heart of Mrs. Packletide. So when all the villagers who hit their drums made a kind of a gathering sound of a victory. So, and their victory and happiness found a ready echo in the heart of Mrs. Packletide. When Mrs. Packletide also heard the sound of villagers, felt that also very glad and happy that she killed a tiger. So, and already that luncheon party in Curzon Street appeared immeasurably nearer. So, Mrs. Packletide was thinking about that the party was definitely going to happen uh, in the honor of Mansoom, in the honor of Luna Bimbachan. So, it was Louisa Mavin who drew attention to the fact that the goat was in death throes from a mortal bullet wound. So now what do you find out? Now that the happiness turned to grim, and you can say that sadness and miserable when Lucia Mabin, who gave the statement that what? That the goat was died because of the mortal bullet wound, not because of the means tiger attack. While no trace of the rifle's deadly war could be found on the tiger. And Luisa Mabin also pointed that the tiger did not kill because of the means because of the what do we say that bullet. So the tiger did not kill because of the bullet, but the goat was killed because of the bullet. Evidently, or finally, what do we find out? The wrong animal had been hit and the beast of prey had succumbed to heart failure. So the wrong animal had been hit means the goat was hit by the bullet and um, the tiger was hunted or caused to die because of the heart failure. So it was caused by the sudden report of the rifle. So you would find out that how did it get heart failure? It got heart failure because of the sudden hit of the bullet, and that the sound of the bullet caused the heart failure of the tiger. Right. So accelerated by senile. Senile means what? Now, as the another thing is called as uh, he was turning old at the same time means he was going to die, but the bullet caused him to die. Mrs. Packletide was pardonably annoyed at the discovery. So Packletide now got repented and also pardonably. Pardonably means excusably annoyed. So she got angry also, right? When she came to know about the reality or discovery. But at any rate, she was the possessor of a dead tiger. But she believed that it was she who killed, it was she, because of which what happened, the tiger was killed and the villagers anxious about that 1,000 rupees. So the villagers were also greedy for the 1,000 rupees. That's why the villagers did not, convinced or did not want to reveal the truth that the tiger was killed because of the heart attack, not because of the Packletide's bullet. So they gladly connived. Connived means what? They gladly or secretly or hide, right? Cleverly hide the reality, right? Reality of what? Reality of the dead tiger. So, what is the cause of his death? And the villagers anxious for their 1,000 rupees. So, who was anxious for their 1,000 rupees? Because the villagers were anxious. means very much greedy for that 1,000 rupees. Gladly connived at the fiction. Fiction means called as a story that that the tiger had that sorry that what Mrs. Packletide had shot the beast. So the they hide the story that what Mrs. Packletide had shot the beast, and Miss Mabin was a paid companion. And Miss Mabin is who? Now, she was a paid companion. If she was getting the money, she would also means do what? She would also hide the truth, hide the truth. Therefore, Mrs. Packletide faced the cameras with a light heart. Light heart means what? Not with a courage heart or not with a hard heart. So light heart means what? Now, because she knows the truth. So that's why she was not that confident. And her pictured fame reached from the page of the Texas Weekly Snapshot to the illustrated Monday supplement of the Novoe Vremya. So it means it is stated that Mrs. Packletide finally faced the camera. Mrs. Packletide's photo got sprayed in a different newspaper, and newspaper like Texas Weekly Snapshot and Novoe Vremya. As per Luna Bimberton, she refused to look at an illustrated paper. She refused to look at an illustrated paper for weeks. So even you would find out Luna Bimberton did not even look at the newspaper for a week. Right. So why? No, because she did not want to see Mrs. Packletide's photo or her courageous story in the paper. So that's why she did not even read the paper for weeks. Right.
Okay.
So now you can understand it is not about Mrs. Packletide who's envious for Miss Luna Bimberton. So Miss Luna Bimberton also had the same kind of a envious for Mrs. Packletide, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And our letter of thanks for the gift of a Tiger Club brooch was a model of repressed emotions. Even you would find out Mrs. Packletide send her what? A Tiger Club brooch. To whom? To Miss Luna Bimberton. And that was nothing but a kind of a jalepe nimak chidakna. Jalepe nimak chirakna, or called as add oil into the fire. So it even a kind of a remembrance. It even kind of a remembrance. What is called as a remembrance? A Tiger Club brooch with a letter to Miss Luna Bimberton is nothing but a kind of a remembrance to her emotion. So
Sir,
yes,
sir, and what about the party?
which party?
Sir, that this what Mrs. Packletide told, right, that she would be gifting Igna Bimbut on the tiger brooch by inviting her.
That is given. No, that is given. So the luncheon party the luncheon party she declined. So it means Mrs. Packletide offered the luncheon party for the sake of whom? Means Luna Bimberton, but she declined. She did not attend that. Okay, she did not attend that. If she did not attend, then how did Mrs. Packletide give the Tiger Club brooch? She sent it. She sent the Tiger Club brooch with the letter of thanks, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So there are limits beyond which repressed emotion become dangerous. Even she Miss Luna Bimberton found out that nothing but it's a kind of a means emotion which is turning into very dislike and also hatredness and dangerous for her. So how amused everyone would be if they knew what really happened. Now Luna Bimberton was Luna no, sorry, Louisa Mabin was waiting for the kind of a moment, because uh, the truth was revealed in the newspaper. Her picture was presented in the newspaper. Even she gave the Tiger Club rouge to Luna Bimberton. She threw the party luncheon party in the honor of Luna Bimberton. Now everything was held. After that, if all the people come to know that uh, Mrs. Packletide did not kill the tiger, she killed the goat, how it would be, Mrs. Packletide? So that is the moment Luisa may been waiting for. And that is why Luisa may been here asked how amused everyone would be if they knew what really happened. Luisa may been a few days after the ball. After the ball means after the dance party or after the luncheon party was over. She told whom? She told Mrs. Packletide. Now Mrs. Packletide quickly asked, what do you mean? So, means Miss Mabin told how you shot the goat and frightened the tiger to death. Miss Mabin said with a disagreeably pleasant laugh. So Miss Mabin's kind of a statement seemed like Miss Mabin was blackmailing Mrs. Packletide. Isn't
Uh,
it? So,
yes, sir.
uh, so Miss Mabin with her disagreeably pleasant laugh, it means Miss Mabin was disagree that Mrs. Packletide did not kill the tiger, she killed the goat, and that she would definitely spread among the people. So Mrs. Packletide said, no one would believe it, right? So her face changing color as rapidly as though it were going through a book of pattern before post times. Now here you would find out like the book that shows the color, right? Different colors when you change the page. Similar to that, Mrs. Packletide's appearance also change into different, right? So it's something like a what? It's something like a kind of a bet, right? The start of a horse race and deadline for placing a bet. So when you are putting a when you are playing a gamble and you know that you are going to lose the game, so at that time your appearance looks something different. So likewise, Mrs. Packletide's face also was looking the same when Miss Louisa Mabin blackmailed her. Miss Mabin said Luna Bimberton would. Maybe no one believed, but Luna Bimberton would believe that, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Because she was the
She,
one who was most jealous of Mrs. Packletide. So
yeah,
any negative information
would
for
would help her a lot. So
yes,
Luna
sir.
Bimberton would. Mrs. Packletide's face settled on an unbecoming shade of greenish white. What she would do? She would save her, what? She would save her reputation, or she would allow Miss Mavin to spread the truth. So in that case, Mrs. Packletide asked, "You surely would not give me away." So Mrs. Packletide asked Miss Mavin that you are not going to leave me, or you are not going to means leave this matter. So Miss Mabin said, I have seen a weekend cottage near Darking that I should rather like to buy. So she, what did Miss Mabin say, did I, what did Miss Mabin do here? Miss Mabin here made a kind of a compromise by stating that she wanted money to buy a weekend cottage near Darking, right? So Miss Bevin said with a seeming irrelevance, she said that 680, 680 what? 680 freehold, right? So that's something called as a money she wants, 680 ruble you can say, ruble she wants. Ruble is a currency, quite a bargain. Only I don't happen to have the money. Right. So she said that 680 rubles is needed to buy the cottage near Darking. But the problem is what? I don't happen to have the money. So Miss Mabin indirectly said, Mrs. Packletide, give me 680 ruble so that I would buy that weekend cottage near Darking. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So Louisa Mabin's pretty weekend cottage, right? Named by her Les Pops. So what is that Les Pops? Les Pops means that called as a French. French for the wild animals. So what is the meaning of Les Pops? Les Pops means the wild animals. So Louisa Mabin's pretty weekend cottage that is named by her, the wild animal, and gain summertime. Gain summertime means what? Now, during the summertime means people generally see ghosts there for spending or free time or leisure time. With its garden border of tiger lilies. Even the garden is covered with the tiger lily plants. It is the wonder and admiration of our friends. And that particular that particular means a house or that particular weekend cottage becomes nothing but Luisa Mabin's friends' beautiful place to spend leisure time. It is a marvel. It is remarkable how Luisa managed to do it. Luisa managed to do it means Luisa Mabin managed to get that weekend cottage. And the author stated that it is the general verdict. It is the general verdict means it is the appropriate judgment that happens to everyone. That called as a Miss Mabin who got uh, means the kind of a amount that she supported for supported to whom? Supported to Mrs. Packletide, the villagers who got the 1,000 rupees for their supporting, even Mrs. Packletide who got the kind of a punishment for its for her envies to Luja whom Luna Bimberton, and Luna Bimberton also got the kind of a means kind of a reply uh, for the kind of a jealousy she has for Mrs. Packletide. So the author stated that it is the general verdict. It is the general verdict that is given to the Mrs. Packletide. Mrs. Packletide, who involves in no more big game shooting. Now, after that, you would find out Mrs. Packletide did not involve in any of the big game shooting or hunting. So the incidental expenses are so heavy. The incidental expenses means what? The primary thing is what? The primary thing is called as is Mrs. Packletide's hunting the tiger, and the secondary thing is called as a for hunting the tiger or advice to Luna Bimberton. Mrs. Packletide had to spend a lot of money, and that she kept secret to her friends. Those friends who might have already known about it and they are inquiring about it. Am I clear with this?
Yes, sir. Means after means like the incidental expenses are so heavy. She means like the secret that she did not kill the tiger, who Mrs. Packle died. Mrs. Packle hid all these things from her friends who might know this.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I have another class at 4 o'clock, dude. It's a 3:34.